What is up, my friends? Hope you're having a great Saturday. Welcome back to another video. It's Mike Meltzer here. I'm super excited that you're here, that you're live with us. I just want to check in on the feed. As always, when we do these lives, sometimes things get a little wonky. Just want to make sure that we're on here. So give me just a quick minute, friends. All right, it says we're on metabolic traffic. All right. I'm using a slightly different setup. Hopefully there's not a delay in the audio, but I'm super excited that you're with us. I'll check the chat periodically, but we're going back to the whiteboard. I listen to your comments, I listen to your feedback, and I want to, I'm getting some feedback here. And I want to give you what you want. So today we're going back to the whiteboard. I have a few studies that we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about this idea that's emerging in research as we better understand, we scientists are better elucidating the metabolic pathways involved in fatty acid oxidation. We realize that it's not so simple that you can have unlimited amounts of dietary fat in your diet to lose body fat. So we're going to talk about kind of this U-shaped curve where obviously we know fat is back. We know fat is not necessarily inherently bad, but we do see some people that get on a ketogenic diet and they do okay for a little while, and then things kind of stop working. And we're going to talk about this U-shaped curve, where on the x-axis we have fat, fat intake, fat delivery to the liver. That's this. I was going to ask you some questions here, but since we're a little late getting on, we're just going to dive right into it. So fat delivery to the liver, and then on the y-axis here we have fat oxidation. And so there's this U-shaped curve where more and more fat delivery to the liver does not necessarily enhance fatty acid oxidation. So there's a U-shaped curve. It's called metabolic traffic. And here's the biochemical paper that we're going to, not biochemical, it's a published paper in the PLoS One Biology called the promiscuous enzyme medium chain 3-acyl-CoA thiolase triggers a vicious cycle in fatty acid beta oxidation. So long story short, too much fatty acid delivery to the liver. So if you have a lot of body fat and you're eating excessive amounts of dietary fat, again, I'm all about keto. Absolutely, 100%. I'm not saying don't eat dietary fat. I'm saying absolutely have dietary fat. But what I see people on Instagram and Pinterest and social media, when they have a lot of body fat to lose and they're eating tons of fat, you're like, well, are you over here where you're diminishing your returns? Because you kind of want to be at this sweet spot. And I'm going to tell you how to figure out that sweet spot. So that's what we're talking about today. If you guys like these style of videos, if you like this type of science, hit that like button. Let me know. Just type in a comment where you're from. What are you doing on this Saturday? How's your life going? I'm super excited. In the summer, we do a lot more of these live on Saturdays. I'm creating this keto school. And so I'm very excited to share content with you. So let me just check in again. Just want to make sure that we're on and all that good stuff and there's nothing wonky here. Because wonkiness happens on YouTube, as you know. So we got 100 of you on and growing, which is cool. Just going to see on the chat, how's the audio? Late. Yeah, there is a delay. So when I'm talking and you're watching the replay, you're going to be like, wait, is he like mouth syncing this? Audio's out of sync. Damn it. Something is wrong with my Wirecast. It does this all the time, guys. I'm so sorry that it's out of sync. It might be frustrating, but you know what? Let's just dive into it and deal with the frustrations later. I promise you, it's me talking live here. The microphone is out of sync, so it's going to be weird. But anyway, all right, so there's this notion emerging in the research about metabolic traffic, and that's what's going on down here at this end of the spectrum. Again, for those of you guys just coming on, we're talking about this hitting the sweet spot right here, where fatty acid oxidation is being balanced by fatty acid delivery to the liver, okay? Because remember, we talk about this in Keto Lean Masterclass, and if I didn't mention it already, we have a ton of free courses right below this video. So just click I think it says free video course or something like that, where you guys can get access to some of the video snippets, and we have paid courses as well. But check out the free course. And at the end, we're doing a giveaway. I'm going to give you, so stay through to the end. I'm going to talk to you about a new neurotropic product that can help you in a pre-workout setting. All right. So fatty acid delivering to the liver. All right. So the liver is kind of the main metabolic hub in the body. We talk about the liver for detoxification, for metabolizing alcohol and all that. But the liver is so essential if you want to burn fat effectively, because the liver is basically, as I mentioned, kind of a signaling hub where if you have your fat cells here, okay, and you have your kind of the liver shape, it's a bad liver, I know, I'm sorry, but just, and then you have your kind of your muscle tissue here, this can be like a muscle belly and stuff like that. So kind of some of the way, and then you have your brain kind of up here, I'm gonna say, terrible brain, I'm sorry, but writing this way is tough, right? So you got your brain, stuff like that. So the kind of chain of events goes like this, right? You have this hormonal environment that can be created through a low carb, high fat diet, right? Also high protein can create this hormonal environment, as can exercise, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Exercise causes, and all those factors I talked about, cause free fatty acids to be released. Those free fatty acids can go directly to your muscle tissue, but they can also obviously go to the liver to be repackaged as ketones so that the brain has energy, right? And then the heart can use ketones as well. The heart, does very well on ketones, right? So the liver's this main hub, but if you also have your diet or so we're just talking about, I'll just say food right here. So food gets absorbed, obviously, dietary fatty acids and so forth, gets absorbed, and then the liver's taking on that burden as well to either package them as ketones so that they can go systemic, or to just liberate the free fatty acids so they can be used in the muscle. Now, this is where fatty delivery can become overloaded. So for example, you have a lot of body fat, maybe 30, 40, 50% body fat, right? You're eating 300-400 grams. I mean, some people do eat a ton of fat per day, right? Sticks of butter, pork and all that sort of stuff. This is what's known, this is where you get over to this metabolic traffic scenario, right? So how do we figure out the sweet spot? How do we figure out, okay, well, we obviously want to be burning fat for fuel, right? But, and we're eating a high fat diet, but we also want to burn our body fat, right? Not just the fat from the food that we eat. And so that's kind of one of the things that's kind of funny about the ketogenic diet, right? No one has a fat deficiency, a body fat deficiency. I shouldn't say no one, but there's very few people that go on a ketogenic diet that I've seen that don't have enough body fat, right? Most people have enough body fat. So if burning body fat is the goal, what we need to do is create the hormonal environment, the metabolic environment, to find this sweet spot of fatty acid oxidation. And so part of this, friends, comes through exercise. This is a thing. So we talk a lot about this in the Keto Lean Masterclass and other courses. Exercise is part and parcel with the ketogenic diet, right? Fasting is great, and time-restricted feeding creates this hormonal environment so fat cells start releasing more fat so they can be repackaged in the liver to make ketones or to be burned as fat in the muscle tissue. But exercise is very, very important because majority of the body fat that you're going to burn is going to be burned within the muscle tissue. Right now, I made a joke at in a seminar last week, Jimmy Moore's low carb cruise. That we talk about. Your brain loves fat and all that. I've never seen anyone lose weight doing math calculations, reading books. Right? People don't lose appreciable amounts of body fat stimulating their mind. I mean, as much as I love to stimulate my mind, I have all kinds of scientific papers, play the guitar. I'm sure you do a lot of stuff too. When I want to burn fat, I'm moving my muscles, okay? So we can pivot this fatty acid oxidation spectrum, we can make this more effective, find this sweet spot by driving stimulus to the main organ involved in fat burning, and that is your muscle tissue. So super important stuff, guys. So muscle is king, and that's why, I love fasting. I think time-restricted feeding fasting can do wonders for a lot of people, but don't fast at the expense of not exercising. Does that make sense? So we want you to be moving your muscles a lot, often, frequently, explosive, high-intensity movements, and that's why, again, this channel is called High Intensity Health. Short duration, high intensity is key. And so we want to stimulate your mind as well as your muscles. So that's key. So anyway, there's papers emerging about this notion of metabolic traffic. And I just wanted you to be aware of this. This research is out there. Again, here's the complex paper. We're going to dive into another paper here right now. But suffice it to say, to summarize this part of this live presentation, if we have too much fat in the diet and too much body fat, and we're not causing demand over here, right, through exercise, through compressing our feeding window, through various supplements we can talk about a little bit later, we can create metabolic traffic. And metabolic traffic means there's more stuff coming in. It's like metabolic debt, right? Imagine your credit card statement if all you did was spend, 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 and you never paid it down, right? That's kind of the same thing where a lot of people are like, man, I'm doing the keto diet, but it's not really working, right? So do you have metabolic congestion, metabolic traffic, right? Does your metabolic, highway system look like Los Angeles at 5 p.m. on a weeknight, right? And if it does, what we want to do is drive stimulus here. So we can do that through a myriad of different, ways, as you likely know. Time-restricted feeding, intermittent fasting, and exercise. Those are kind of big ones. Of course, we can create the hormonal milieu through diet, right? But anyway, so that's what's going on here. There's another paper that I wanted to share with you today. Again, as part of the Scientific Saturday strategy. I just want to, I just like sharing this stuff with you guys. I know you dig it too. So this is an interesting paper that came out, I think it was April, if I'm not mistaken. This has been sitting on my desk for a while. It's called Resting Metabolic Rate of Obese Patients Under Very Low Calorie Ketogenic Diet. Now, the reason why I want to share this paper with you is because for many of us, we end up in conversations on the internet, debating, people that are in the strength and conditioning community that are they'll use words like the insulin fairy and say, oh yeah, you believe in the insulin fairy, as if insulin has no bearing on fatty acid oxidation, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are very biased into this energy in, energy out hypothesis. And when they hear people like us talk about the ketogenic diet or metabolic flexibility, their blinders go on and they don't want to listen, because to them, the world of metabolism revolves around energy balance and energy homeostasis, which is part of the story, right? Too much energy into the system will cause metabolic traffic like we're talking about. But that being said, there is a little bit of interesting characteristics about the ketogenic diet that is unique to metabolic rates, metabolic flexibility, that I want you to be aware of. And the cool part about it is if you do decide to lose body fat and go in a calorie deficit, which can help create that hormonal environment to liberate more free fatty acids from fat cells to go into the muscle or to the liver, the ketogenic diet doesn't slow down resting metabolic rate. So this is a common thing that people undergo when they lose body fat and lose appreciable amounts of weight. The body's trying to figure out what's going on. Like, hey, you've been at this metabolic rate for X number of years, days, etc. We want to restore homeostasis, right? That's what the body's always trying to do, is restore balance and so forth. So when you lose a lot of weight, guess what happens to your resting metabolic rate? It goes down. But interestingly enough, this was one of the first clinical studies of its kind to show that, when individuals compared to individuals on a normal carbohydrate style diet, individuals that are on a ketogenic diet, after they lose the weight, the resting metabolic rate does not go down, which is really cool. And in my estimation, I'm just check the feed here, we're good. In my estimation, this speaks to the epigenetic effects that ketones have on the body. The plasticity that ketones induce, the upregulation in the mitochondrial biogenesis, the anti-inflammatory effects, and so on. So cool paper to know. And guys, if you're watching the replay, don't hit the comment bar and say, hey, what's the paper? The title's right here, Resting Metabolic Rate of Obese Patients Under Very Low Calorie Ketogenic Diet. Please just Google it. I mean, come on. All right, so I got one more paper here for Scientific Saturday, and then I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm sure you are gonna do something active and so forth. This is an old paper, but I gotta just share this with you guys. It is so powerful. So, again, if you have any friends in the strength and conditioning community, or you engage in like some online conversation with people in that space, and they use words like the insulin fairy and stuff like that. Remember this. You take an individual. Can you guys see this? You can't see it very well. Let me lift this up. The sun is coming in through this window pretty bright. This may not work for you very well. But what I want to show you here is the percentage. So we talk about this idea of metabolic inflexibility. As we gain weight, as we become more insulin resistant over time, our body's metabolism kind of loses the ability to preferentially choose fats over carbohydrates for fuel. And this happens as we become more overweight. And that's the whole idea of becoming more fat adapted, is that we continually to train and we keep beating our metabolism over the head and say, hey, burn fat for fuel, burn fat for fuel, burn fat for fuel. And the challenge is, like, as we gain more body fat, we lose that, and our body preferentially starts to burn sugar for fuel, right? So we're trying to reverse that. That's the goal of this channel. I'm sure that's why you're watching this video right now. Well, what happens is when you have individuals that are, you're measuring the percentage of fat they're burning versus sugar, you're looking at their respiratory quotient, which is here, okay? And then you give them insulin via intravenous or subcutaneous. Guess what happens? Fatty acid oxidation goes down, and there's a preferential increase in glucose oxidation, right? So this is the idea that, anytime you have a conversation with someone that's really thermodynamically biased and they're coming from the strength and conditioning community, and they say, oh, it's all about energy balance, the body is going to preferentially slow down its oxidation of fatty acids, okay? And this has been known for a very long time, from bed rest studies where they give individuals insulin and they look at their respiratory quotient, they look at how much fat they're burning, it goes down. So just keep that in mind, okay? So again, one way that we can slow this fatty acid oxidation down is by spiking insulin, okay? And so insulin is going to create more metabolic traffic. So that was the whole point of kind of sharing with you that study, because when we exercise, part of the metabolic environment created through exercise is by driving insulin down, increasing glucagon, and that creates that causes more free fatty acids from your fat cells to be released, to be burned inside the muscle tissue, or to be packaged as ketones or burned within the liver, right? So in contrast, if we spike insulin, oh man, this pen stinks. Whew. Can't believe I let my daughter use this thing. It reeks. Gonna have to get new pens. Anyway, if we spike insulin, what happens is we slow down fatty acid oxidation. So we can be over here in that spectrum, creating more metabolic traffic, right? Because what insulin is trying to do is put stuff into cells, right? What you want to do is take energy and pull it out of your cells. So how do you do that? Exercise, compress the feeding window. So I'll see if you guys have any questions, but we have a lucky person I'm gonna give this away to. So Carnotropic, it's a product from a supplement company that we recently started called Myoscience. As you can tell by the name, Myo for muscle, science for science. So all about improving the health of muscle. And this is a unique way featuring a form of caffeine called theocrine, which can help you burn more fat for fuel and energy. There's a link to the description on Amazon and so forth. But I have a pop quiz for you guys. Quick question. The first person on YouTube right now that types in the chat bar the recipe to make ketones. So there's this recipe that you need to make ketones and to burn fat for fuel. What's that recipe? There's 3 factors here, kind of 3 hormonal requirements, if you will. The first one, I'm gonna give one of them away, is low blood sugar. What are the other 2 factors? And you're gonna get a free bottle of Carnotropic. I'm gonna send it to you wherever you are in the world. I need to know your address and so forth for the winner, but please type in the comment bar right now. All right, there's 3 factors that you need to happen to be able to burn fat efficiently and make ketones within the liver. Low blood sugar is one of them. What are the other 2 factors? I'm gonna watch on the comment bar here and see what you guys think. All right. Someone says control insulin, limit carb intake, and move. Yeah, that's a great one. Ask Nurse Cindy, what's happening? Cindy, thanks for being here. How's the delay? So you're close. Yeah, so that's part of it. So low insulin. Yeah. All right. So we're getting close, guys. So we have low glucose, low insulin. There's one more hormone that needs to be upregulated. Someone says coffee, MCT, coconut oil. So yeah, that's fatty acid delivery. But what else is there? All right. Someone says high intensity exercise. Yeah, I love that, but that's close. All right, Anthony in the house. Anthony Acevedo. Am I pronouncing that right? Anthony, please send me an email, Mike at High Intensity Health. I need your address. You got a free bottle of Carnotropic, baby. So this features magnesium threonate, vitamin B12, and theocrine. So those are the compounds that will help you to kind of increase mental clarity before you exercise and burn more fat for fuel. So Anthony, please send me an email, buddy. I really, really love your response. So guys, go back in the comment bar or in the chat. See what Anthony says. Let me just kind of rehash what he's saying. He says glucagon needs to be up, insulin needs to be low, glucose needs to be low. So right, obviously we can do that through, as someone mentioned, MCT oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, all that, right? Because those foods are not going to spike insulin, right? But a more kind of a whole body effective strategy is, guess what? Exercise, moving your muscles. When you move your muscles, what do? You lower glucose, you lower insulin, and guess what? You increase glucagon, which is awesome, guys. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm really, really grateful that you're here, that you like, I hope you like this content. I haven't even checked in with some of the chat. If you're digging this content and you're on right now, hit that like button. If you have not yet subscribed, you got to subscribe to the channel, guys. We do scientific videos like this, whiteboard videos, but we also interview experts in the field like Nurse Cindy, Dr. Ken Berry, he's going to come on the show soon, Sarah Hallberg, Nina Teicholz, many other people, guys. So please subscribe, share this with a friend or family member. And I'm going to take 3 questions. Because I can hear my daughter wrestling. The advantage of doing these on Saturday mornings is she likes to sleep in. So while she's sleeping, I can do a few things. So LUV Unleashed says, I talk fast like you, haha, just want to say I'm almost 70, encouraging. Thanks for that. That's such a great comment. I really, really love that. All right, what else do we got? Todd says, I'm glad you addressed resting metabolic rate. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And so, again, I like fasting. I think there's a lot of health benefits, but I think too many people fast too often, and then they wonder why they're not burning fat. So fasting, prolonged fasting particularly, can affect your resting metabolic rate. So again, I'm more of a proponent of exercising, stimulating fatty acid oxidation through movement, and using fasting or compressing your feeding window, to get the health benefits, right, of autophagy and so forth. Someone says, love to see you with Cole Robinson. I don't know Cole Robinson. Someone says, I'm fat burning like crazy, losing a lot of weight. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So cool. Someone says, can you address the issue of sludging up the gallbladder when losing large amounts of body fat? Yeah, I don't know that there's any research on causing gallbladder sludge with weight loss, but certainly as you increase dietary fat in your diet, and I would say if you have a lifelong history of eating more processed type of fats, you can create bile sludge and things along those lines. So, just be careful. And then if you have a family history of, gallbladder issues and stuff like that, just be careful. So, I suggest the best thing with that is just to make sure you're having regular bowel movements. Just being moderate on the fats initially if you're brand new to this, to see how your body's gonna handle things, and then try and have different types of fat to see how they affect things. But gallbladder, and bile acids. Here's a little side thing I've been thinking about a lot. If you think about our digestive tract, bile acids go systemic. So I think that's one of the other hidden benefits of the ketogenic diet that's not talked about, is that bile acids are found in our brain. And they have anti-inflammatory effects, folks. Bile acids are found in our heart, okay? And so then we think about, if we have a standard American diet, high in processed carbohydrates, we're not releasing bile as much. Bile is actually antimicrobial. So you hear oftentimes about SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. My friend Dr. Ben Lynch and I talked about this on a video back in 2016. About how there's a few studies that have come out to show that when you give bile acids to individuals, or at least in an animal model study, the amounts of bacteria that are more pathogenic, like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, are reduced because bile acids, like hydrochloric acid, are antimicrobial, right? And of course, how can we increase bile acids? By eating more good, healthy fats, avocado, coconut, nuts and seeds, good meats, and so forth. So again, all roads lead to Rome. It's not just about cutting out your carbs, that's the benefit. These ketones and the metabolites needed to absorb them, i.e. bile, are great for the body, right? So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content. I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend. For those of you that are regular subscribers and you're always tuning in, I'm super grateful for you, and I apologize. The next video interview is not going to launch until Monday with Sarah Hallberg. But of course, if you're a patron member, just go to highintensityhealth.com/insider. You know that you can get early access to all the video interviews. We're doing something a little bit different with this next interview, and I couldn't get it done in time for Saturday's delivery, so I apologize. But that's why we're doing this live video, and hope you enjoyed it. So I'll go back. If you're watching the replay, I'll check in on your comments. And guys, very, very grateful for you tuning in. Anthony, I'm super excited that you won this product, Carnotropic. If you guys want to learn more about MyoScience products and some of the applications, we have webinars coming up in the future, so subscribe to the channel so you are aware of that. And have a great weekend, friends. We'll catch you on the next video. Talk to you later.